Things have completely exploded with Steve Bannon, CEO of Trump's presidential campaign, executive director of right-wing news site Breitbart. He's got a real problem with Jews, if you believe a number of different people who claim to know about it. And this relates to the issue of Trump not being anti-Semitic necessarily. His daughter is Jewish, his son-in-law is Jewish, his grandkids are Jewish. But he is surrounding himself with people that are allegedly anti-Semitic. And he's also really emboldening anti-Semitism among his followers. And this is going to be, supposedly, Steve Bannon is going to be one of Trump's closest advisors during his upcoming presidency. There are now so many stories about Steve Bannon, including the fact that, according to his ex-wife, he complained that there were too many students at the Archer School for Girls, which is a very elite, expensive private school in Los Angeles. And apparently he didn't want his kids going there because there were just a lot of Jewish kids that he didn't want his kids around. According to Bannon's ex-wife, Mary Louise Picard, in a court declaration during their divorce, quote, "The biggest problem he had with Archer is the number of Jews that attend. He said he doesn't like the way they raise their kids to be whiny brats and that he didn't want the girls going to school with Jews." Bannon reportedly also complained that another elite school had, quote, "too many Hanukkah books in the library." Now, there are critics saying, David, this is something his ex-wife said in divorce proceedings to make him look bad. If you want to make your soon-to-be ex-husband look bad in court, you don't come out with super specific stuff about Jews. You would say something that would be more influential maybe to the court and getting a more favorable child support or alimony settlement or whatever. You don't come up with really specific comments about Jews at a school. And by the way, Glenn Beck is really being upfront about this. Glenn Beck, a right-winger who is very concerned about Donald Trump and the appointments that are going on, he said, oh, yeah, there's no doubt that Steve Bannon is connected to white nationalism. Check this out.
Steve Bannon wants to burn it down. And you will, if you listen to this show, you will learn what he wants to replace it with. He's a nightmare. And he's the chief advisor to the president of the United States now. You know, if people really want to, in the press, would like to call Donald Trump a racist, you might want to stop on that one and just spend a little time on Bannon, because Bannon has a clear tie to white nationalists. Clear tie.
Well, yeah, he said his venue was for the alt-right.
Yeah, he's built Breitbart as a platform for the alt-right. He is on record saying that. He's on record defining the alt-right. He knows what it is. He is a guy who has he wants to tear this system down and replace it with a new system. He is a frightening, no. He is a terrifying man.
Are we really supposed to be surprised that an ultra-right conspiracy theorist is allegedly an anti-Semite? I mean, they often go together. And former KKK leader David Duke really, really likes it. This is from yesterday on the Rents Radio Network's David Duke show. Sounds like a just absolutely tremendous show, people are telling me. He is really happy about Steve Bannon being involved in the Trump White House. Check this out.
Interestingly enough, Mr. Bannon is being chosen to be the top strategist. In other words, basically the closest advisor to Donald Trump in terms of the ideas of the Trump revolution. I think that's a good sign, because I think Mr. Bannon has really been right on about a lot of issues facing European Americans. He's really talked about and supported in some ways the alt-right, although I think they've supported some of the members, or so-called members of the alt-right, like Milo, who is not really representative of the alt-right. At the same time, he certainly understands that immigration is a destructive force in America, the Western world. They have been savagely attacking Merkel and, of course, Trump himself.
Yeah, so I know that the reaction is always, Pat, listen, Trump disavowed David Duke. Trump's daughter is Jewish. His grandkids are Jewish. That's all fine, well, and good, but it becomes harder and harder to say that there is nothing to discuss when Trump has mobilized and excited white supremacists like no candidate for a very long time. People like David Duke like Trump. They like Trump's selections, et cetera, et cetera. It's fine that Donald Trump is not personally anti-Semitic. We don't really need to even explore whether he is or isn't. Look at who's emboldened by the Trump will-be administration.
And there's some more reluctant Trump supporters who say that he'll drop his more xenophobic rhetoric once he takes office.
Yeah.
Until he doesn't have Steve Bannon in his ear and until people like David Duke renounce him, there's no reason to believe that.
If Duke remains happy about what you are doing and about who you're picking, then that is still cause for concern. And we're seeing just record hundreds and hundreds of anti-Semitic attacks being reported to the Anti-Defamation League and the KKK planning a parade, which is what I want to talk about next.